Welcome to Maslow AI, Systems Thinking for Life Fulfillment. I'm John Betancourt. By the way, I do use names on these podcasts, but they're made up names to protect the innocent or the guilty, whichever the case might be. But these are real life stories of people that I have encountered over the years. And today I'm going to talk about someone who's a very close friend of mine back in college at Princeton, and we're going to call him Jeff. Now, Jeff pretty much had everything handed to him on a silver platter. He went to a very prestigious prep school. He went to Princeton. He got an MBA from Columbia University. And while he was at Princeton at the age of 18, we had a little bit of a celebration. He received a $3 million trust fund when he was 18. He was also set to inherit a family business worth millions, and that was just waiting for him to take it over once he finished his college experience. After he got his MBA, he started working for the family business, which was in St. Louis, Missouri, and 18 months later, his own father and uncle looked him in the eye and said, "You're fired. That can't be good." Is it? How the hell does that happen? Very strange. But this story isn't just about one spoiled rich kid. This is about a systems problem that is creating unemployable, unlovable people all over the world. And that is what we're going to focus on today on Maslow AI, Systems Thinking for Life Fulfillment. Jeff's story isn't unique. It's actually an epidemic. It's what happens when comfort completely outpaces challenges. It's the silent killer of drive, competence, and independence. Here's the shocking truth. Research on 60 million children shows that privilege creates two completely different problems. For poor kids, they face an achievement gap. They don't have access to opportunities. But wealthy kids, they face failure to launch syndrome. They have every opportunity and still crash and burn. Jeff, my friend from Princeton, represents the second category. And there are tons of people like him. Here's where it gets really twisted. Wealthy kids score 388 points higher on standardized tests like SATs. They're 13 times more likely to score above 1,300 out of 1,600 points. But they also show a 20 to 40% rate higher of substance abuse, depression, and anxiety. Think about that. They have every advantage and they're still miserable. Why? Because too much safety removes the very friction we need to grow. I like to say it's like a grain of sand in an oyster shell. That irritation creates the pearl. Remove all the sand, you get nothing but a lazy, entitled shell. Here's the neuroscience that'll give you more information on what's going on. Your brain has two completely different reward systems. One for consuming pleasure, shopping, eating, passive entertainment. The other one is for creating and achieving, building something of value, solving problems, earning respect. fMRI scans, and you can look more in the description below for more information about these studies, show these systems actually compete with one another. If you grow up getting dopamine hits from consumption instead of creation and achievement, what do you think will happen? Your brain literally learns to be a consumer, not a creator. Jeff's brain was wired for need equals purchase from day one. When Jeff wanted something as a kid, it magically appeared. Nice car at Princeton? Done. He needed a tutor to pass an exam? Easy. Problems with money? Daddy wrote a check. He skipped every single difficult process and jumped straight to outcomes. That's like trying to build muscle without ever lifting a weight. It's physically impossible. Research shows that smart middle-class parents create achievement opportunities, controlled challenges, where kids can succeed or fail. However, not so smart, sometimes ultra-wealthy parents, they do the opposite. They tend to eliminate the challenges along the way. Jeff learned the most dangerous equation in the world. When you need something, just buy it. So Jeff shows up at the family company with his brand new MBA from Columbia and zero actual skills. He had a title, but no tools and no skills. He couldn't finish tasks, missed deadlines. He was always lost. He didn't know what to do unless someone told him. He avoided hard problems like the plague. Why? Because he'd never learned how to solve real problems. His entire life, the feedback loop was always, if you have a problem, call dad, call mom, or insert the credit card and receive a solution. He never developed what I call competence-based feedback loops, the ability to learn from failure and to improve. Here's where it gets absolutely crazy. The team at Jeff's father's company was under massive pressure to meet a deadline in order to save a 20-year client relationship. For that particular week, Jeff decides this is the perfect time for a long lunch at an expensive restaurant with his girlfriend. Nobody can find him for hours. The client is desperate, looking for a solution. He comes back to chaos. The work is undone. Teammates are furious, and the client has left. They've lost the client. After a 3-hour crisis meeting about this colossal screw-up, you know what Jeff says to his father? Oh, by the way, do you know where to get good Chinese takeout in Chicago? I'm going there with my girlfriend next week. That moment revealed his true priority, consumption over achievement. It proved that Jeff did not care about the deadline. He did not care about the business, and he didn't even care about his family. Partners had lost patience because Jeff could spend money, but he couldn't contribute value. He brought his consumption mentality to every single relationship. All he thought about was, what could I get out of this? Instead of, what can I contribute? What can I build? And here's what the brutal research says. Studies of 9.1 million individuals show that high achievers marry other high achievers. So even when it comes to relationships, Jeff was out of luck because high achievers actively avoid people like Jeff. They view materialism negatively because materialism negatively correlates with relationship satisfaction. Nobody wants to build a life with someone whose primary skill is shoving things in their mouth and only focusing on what they can consume next. Jeff's pattern was as predictable as gravity. He wanted outcomes without process, comfort without competence, consumption without contribution. This wasn't bad luck. It's a systems failure. The largest study ever conducted, over 60,000 people across 123 countries, proves that having your lower needs without achievement needs through autonomy actually kills your growth motivation. Let me say that again. The largest study ever conducted, over 60,000 people across 123 countries, proves that having your lower needs met externally without achievement needs through autonomy actually kills your growth motivation. Jeff had every advantage but became unemployable because he never learned the fundamental equation. Value creation equals survival in real life. Jeff's story doesn't always involve trust funds or wealth. Some people have other consumption addictions that are not quite as expensive. Some people become alcoholics. Some people become shopaholics. Some people become sex addicts. Some people obviously become addicted to gambling. The pattern is always the same. They can't meet their needs without paying someone else to solve their problems. Take away the money, and the whole system collapses like a house of cards. Here's the good news. You can work at fixing this. but it requires brutal honesty. Step 1, identify the actual value you can create. Find something others genuinely need. Step 2, practice producing it daily, even when it's hard and you fail. Step 3, stop solving emotional needs with your credit card. Jeff eventually tried to fix himself with an 18-month program focused on contribution. For the first time in his life, he worked on projects where money couldn't buy the solution. He was helping people addicted to drugs get their lives together. He had to measure progress by what he built, not by what he bought. But here's the harsh reality. At 43, Jeff is still unemployed. Brain plasticity becomes exponentially harder to change after decades of consumption-based wiring. The neural pathways formed over 40 years don't rewire easily. They're like deep grooves carved in stone. In Maslow terms, Jeff was stuck in what I call the comfort trap. He had no pathway to genuine esteem or achievement. Maslow AI is about using systems thinking to build pathways between tiers, step by measurable step. But Jeff's story is a warning. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. While the brain maintains some plasticity throughout life, decades of consumption-based patterns create deep grooves that resist change like hell. You don't need millions of dollars for this pattern to destroy your life. Anytime comfort consistently outpaces challenge, your skills will plateau. Your confidence erodes. People lose respect for you. Your life gets smaller and smaller until you're just a consumer waiting to die. The research is crystal clear. You cannot buy love, belonging, esteem, or self-actualization. These can only be earned through competence development. Right now, in this moment, are you currently creating genuine value for other people, or are you mostly consuming what others make? Your honest answer will tell you exactly where your life is headed. Jeff's story is both a warning and an invitation. If you want to stay employable, lovable, and fulfilled, you have one choice. Stop consuming and start creating every single day. If this episode helped you understand why comfort without challenge creates unemployable people, hit the subscribe button and the like button. Tell me in the comments if you are creating value mostly, or are you mostly consuming it? Remember, you cannot buy your way to love, esteem, or self-actualization. You have to earn it. I'm John Betancourt. Think in systems, and you'll have a more fulfilling life.